Good morning. I'm Rachel Scoltock. I'm an angel medium, and every week I'm pulling 3 cards for you from the angels and the archangels. And as an angel channel, the angels tell me the messages that are most pertinent for you today. So let's get started. I'm using some Archangel Michael cards, and I've also got handy the life purpose cards today and some fairy tarot. So the first thing that I do is invoke the angels. So I ask for and invite the presence of my guardian angels, Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, the healing angel, and any other angels and ascended masters, the beings of light, who can help us to bring through the message that is most needed for whoever is watching this. And may that message really stand out and be clear and obvious to whomever is receiving it. Thank you. And please guide the right people to watch this so that they receive the messages that they need from their angels. So when I call in Archangel Michael, I feel straight away this shift in energy. There's like a warmth that comes over me. And I also feel the third eye, which is the brow chakra, in the middle of my forehead. That starts to change. I start to feel a shift as he arrives. And it's like the atmosphere changes in the room. So there's many different ways that you can tell that the angels are around you. Some are subtle and some are a little bit stronger and more obvious. And the more you practice calling in the angels and just concentrating on that, focusing on that energy and how your body feels, you'll find that you'll be able to tell the difference between the angels and the archangels and just any beings of light that you call on. So it's something that you can practice at home. So Archangel Michael, thank you for being with me today and help me to give a clear, accurate, meaningful reading for the week ahead for everybody concerned. Thank you. What do we most need to know? Okay. So he's telling me to pull 2 cards from this deck. And you know, it's funny, before I started today, as usual, I sit down and have a little meditate, and the angels kept saying the word guilt to me, guilt, to talk about guilt, spiritual guilt, and the sort of guilt that we feel when we haven't really done anything wrong, but we have this niggling feeling that we've done something wrong. So there's a difference between feeling guilty when you've hurt someone either by mistake or out of malice. There's a big difference between those two things. And there's also a big difference between really sort of feeling guilty for doing the things that you want to do in life. So whether that might be where you want to live, what job you want to do, ending a relationship that you no longer want to be in, walking away from a job that's no longer serving you or fulfilling you. A lot of people, especially sensitive people, tend to feel a sense of guilt, as if they're letting people down, or they're afraid that people are judging them or are thinking negatively about them. So this guilt isn't necessary, because the angels have taught me this, that we carry a lot of energy of guilt in our lives that we've been trained to carry. Might have been from caregivers when we were growing up, or teachers. Someone has taught us, maybe because they felt very guilty and they carry a lot of guilt, or because it was a form of punishment, like if I'm going to make you feel bad about how you are because I don't like it and I want you to change. So that guilt actually sits in your energy field as a very, very stuck energy that stops you from moving forward. So I often look into people's energy when I'm working with them on a healing session or a reading. If they say they're feeling stuck, or they seem to be repeating old patterns, or they're just not moving forward, and usually there is shame and toxic guilt in there. So it's interesting that out of these 2 cards that have come out, that's been addressed. So we'll talk about that in a second. Woo! There you go. We're getting 3 cards from the fairy. So I'm pulling you 5 cards today. We'll see what else comes up. Okay. So the 2 cards that came from Archangel Michael directly from the deck. The first card is take your time making a decision. So big decisions that come up in front of you. I'm listening to the angels as I'm talking. These might be decisions about, life-changing decisions, about relationships, about where to live, about what job or career you want to do. Or they might be something a bit more deeper in an emotional level. But this is flagging up that you're procrastinating about something, that you're feeling stuck when it comes to a decision, or you're avoiding a decision altogether because you're afraid you're going to hurt someone. You're afraid that you're living your life is going to negatively affect somebody else. Now, look at what comes up when I say that, because that might have triggered you in some way. And if you feel triggered, you feel like the emotional reaction, or you feel annoyed, angry at me, or just kind of a sicky feeling inside, sit with that, because that's showing you that there is something there that's a truth for you. The best decisions that you make are the ones that make your life more fulfilled, more exciting, more interesting. They make you feel as if you're moving forward with life. They make you feel like they're aligned with your values and your truth, even if you're not 100% sure about how it's all going to work out. If it feels right in that moment, and that this moment is all that we have, then it's about moving forward. But what the angels are showing me in my mind's eye is about people walking into doors. It's like they want to go forward, but they're hitting their head on a, it's like every time you try to do something, every time you try to change your life, every time you try to make something happen, you hit a wall. So what's coming up about that is guilt. And this card is called Innocence. And it's about recognizing your God-given innocence. You are a pure being of light. It doesn't matter what you've done, what you've said in the past. It doesn't matter if, what crimes you've committed. Deep in your heart, in your soul, you are made in the image and likeness of God. You are a divine being of light, and that is purity. That's innocence. And so it's only, people start to get negative about themselves and other people, judgmental, fearful, believing in lack. That all comes from the ego, the negative self, because it comes from fear. So the angels are asking that you remember your innocence, and also with that you remember your divine connection, and that you are a divine being. You are here to live a life. And okay, we're not talking about being like, it's so judgmental, but people do it all the time, is they judge other people for the decisions they've made, the mistakes they've made. I was talking to someone the other day, and we were talking about someone we know. And the first thing this person said was, oh, that person's been married 2 or 3 times, and they and made a huge judgment about this person having been married more than once and being single. And I thought that's a really harsh judgment. And also, if that person heard that and felt bad about having had a few relationships, they could then sort of start feeling really bad about themselves. So, or starting to judge themselves. So what we're talking about is that guilt that makes you judge yourself. Because if you look at it from a spiritual perspective, someone who's had a lot of relationships or been married once or twice or 3 times, they're a person that's growing. They're a person that's learning. They're evolving. Good on them for keep on trying. I say, like, some people give up and never go back to it. And who knows what their divine plan is this lifetime? Maybe they signed a big, long divine plan contract to balance karma with those relationships. That's something we can never know, and we won't see until it's our turn to pass over. So how can we judge somebody for the choices that they make in their lives? How do we know that they're not living out some soul contract that involves forgiveness of themselves and others, or other people forgiving them? We can't stand in that position, because as soon as we judge another person, we put ourselves under that same judgment, and then we can't move. We're paralyzed because we're afraid of that harsh energy coming back at us. So think about the guilt in your life and the decisions you're not making based on what will hurt others. So I'm not talking about creating I also hate the word selfish, creating a selfish life, I guess, but I am very much for you have to do what you have to do in your life. And always remember that if it's for your highest good to make the change, it is also for the other person's highest good. It might not suit their ego. They might be confronted with a challenge in maybe finding a new staff member to fit where you were before, or missing you, or recognizing that their toxic behavior doesn't actually serve them, and that they need to behave differently, so that the next time they have a relationship or a new staff member, that they'll be able to hold on to that relationship. Whatever it is, I'm creating scenarios here. is that if it's for your highest good, it's going to be for the other person's highest good too. You can't be in your highest good to move and do something different and not be for the other person's highest good. So think, does this move, this change make my life better? And if it does, then you have to trust in God and trust in your angels and trust in yourself that no matter what is going on, because you are not here to protect, please, take care of the feelings, emotions, and enable other people in their journey. You have to do what is right for you, and that's called taking responsibility. So the angels are saying you're innocent. You're not doing anything wrong. Does that make sense? So then we have the 3 cards that came from the fairies deck. I've got to keep an eye on the time here. So once you make this decision, this card comes forward. This is about unleashing burdens. It's like you've been carrying a heavy burden on your shoulders for a long time. You don't even know it's there. It's guilt. Guilt is like having one of those bullock yokes around your neck. You know, it's really heavy and you're dragging a cart. You don't even know it's there. It just makes everything more difficult. Everything, because it's the lowest vibration of all, guilt. If you do feel like you've done something wrong and you can, let's just say when you were younger, you stole a bottle of wine from a bottle shop. I'm just making this up. And okay, that bottle shop's now closed, but I feel really guilty that I did that. Okay, you've learnt the lesson. That wasn't a great thing for you to do. Maybe you did it as a young, excitable thing. But what you could do is donate $20 to a charity that helps homeless people. So that you say, God, I want to release myself of this feeling of guilt that I did the wrong thing. When you really think, okay, I did do the wrong thing, and I'll write a letter, apologize, send a card, send flowers. If you feel like you've overstepped the line of your own values and morals, or pray and ask for forgiveness from God, which will come immediately, and just say, I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to change my behavior. You don't have to carry guilt like a big burden with you your whole life. That's not what this life is all about. And lots of people hold themselves back because they feel like they didn't go and see their loved one before they died, or they didn't say the right thing. And that guilt holds them in a clamp as if they cannot move, and they stay depressed, they stay angry, they stay afraid, they punish themselves. So you have to release yourself of that kind of guilt. So this is saying when you make your decision and you recognize it's time to let go of guilt, a massive burden will drop. The next card is the 7 of Spring. It's about being assertive, going for what you want. See the fairy in the card has got a bow and arrow. Set your intentions on the future, on the present moment, not on the past. Don't back down from what you believe is right for you, no matter what other people say. Everyone's got an opinion, and it's based on what they've lived. You can't live through other people. You have to live for your own. And the outcome is, this is a lovely card. I love it so much. Life experience. Everything you've been through is a life experience that leads you to change limiting beliefs. And when you get that, transformation happens. When you start to change, okay, I don't have to feel guilty anymore. I can do something about this. I can release the guilt to my angels, and I can start to see my life from a spiritual perspective. That transforms everything. Those heavy, heavy beliefs of like, am I not good enough? Did I do the wrong thing? Have I lived my life wrong? All of that. Give it to the angels, let it go. Start to look at things with new eyes. So this brings a life-changing event. When you get that revelation, what doesn't work for you, what no longer serves you, falls away. So I'm Rachel Scoltock. I'm an angel medium and intuitive energy therapist. I do coaching sessions, healing sessions online on Skype and Zoom and phone. And I also do MP3 readings where I sit here and I lay out cards and I answer your reading questions, psychically tune into you and your situation and anyone you ask about, and give you clear, meaningful answers. So if you would like to book a session with me, go to rachelscoltock.com or send me a quick message with your details, and I will contact you and we can talk about what you need. And I've got some very exciting programs coming up very soon, and it's going to be life-changing. A way to work with you that can completely shift you out of guilt and anxiety, fear and grief, and unstick you to bring you to a place of complete transformation where you're walking the path of your highest vision for yourself, where you find that highest vision. So I've been Rachel Scoltock. See you next time. Angel blessings.